Tina. That's why I'm number one.
Greetings, Gunslinger Posse, and welcome to Branded for February 12th, 2025. He's Tom Menas, head coach and general manager of the San Antonio Gunslingers. I'm Ralph Judkins, your host for a show all about the San Antonio Gunslingers of the Indoor Football League. We ask you while you're at it to like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on whatever social media you're on. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, and we're on the X. Sound off with a comment, if you would. Bob Boop from the Sharks chiming in. And especially, we want to see questions for the coach. While we're here, we're going to have a great segment for that coming up in a bit. Coach, any comments or notes before we get started here from the San Antonio Rodeo?
No, just glad to be here. Missed it from last year. Had a good time last year here, and looking forward to a great show this year.
All right, we'll be back with our kickoff in the start of the first quarter. When we return, you are watching Branded, brought to you by South Texas Spine and Surgical Hospital.
Reputation. It defines us. How we treat the customer contributes to our reputation. It's doing the right thing every time and never cutting corners. John Wayne's customers have rewarded us with over 15,000 five-star reviews and an A+ rating with the BBB. And for that, we thank you. John Wayne Service Company, our reputation is in every truck.
John Wayne Service Company is a proud sponsor of the San Antonio Gunslingers.
For generations, the family recipes at Carrabba's Italian Grill have been bringing people together. From the sweet smell of our scratch-made sauce to our rich layers of lasagna, we believe food made with love leads to tables filled with laughter. Dine with us or order out at carrabbas.com.
Hey, did I get your attention? Time to buy those season tickets. 8 home games this year. Call the number below. I'll see you there.
And welcome back to Branded as we start the first quarter. I was betrayed by my buttons here. Susan Menas saying hi. Alex Schubert chiming in. He was a guest with us last week. Loving our backdrop tonight. Yeah, it is kind of busy and kind of colorful here from the San Antonio Rodeo. 76 running this year, Coach.
Oh yeah, it's historic. I mean, it's one of those places that not only where we play, we're in the same building where we play our home games, but also just has a deep, rich history. You know, we were talking before the show about the dirt that's in here, and last year the CEO of the rodeo and I were talking, and he mentioned to me that I think this dirt that they use, they actually saved the dirt. It's hallowed ground, is something to the effect of 30 years, 40 years, in that range.
So it's old dirt, or
it's old
vintage dirt.
It's vintage dirt. It's very special dirt. And the participants in the rodeo absolutely love it.
Yeah, I've heard that this stop on the Pro Rodeo is a preferred stop or highly rated. It's a place where the Cowboys actually want to come, as opposed to where they have to.
I don't think it's the biggest, but I think it's considered one of the best, if not the best, in all of the United States. So, and it's like football players. They have fields they like to be on, and rodeo guys like the dirt they're going to be on, and the arenas and everything that goes with it. I mean, walking in here, passing the horses and the exhibits, and there's animals everywhere. And, of course, we hit the beer garden. Thank you. But it's just a great place to come and bring your family out. And I really encourage anybody in the greater San Antonio area to come on out and enjoy it, because it is special. It is special.
And that's where we are tonight. If you are at the rodeo, we are outside sections 3 through 6 and 104 and 106, just behind where the horse exhibit is.
Yeah, it's a little weird. We're by the ladies' restroom. Yeah. And I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea, but yeah, no, we're right here.
And we've got a booth tonight. You can see over my left shoulder Jonathan Bain talking to people.
Yeah, he's gonna join us in a minute and talk to you all about some ticket specials that are going on right now. And if we get the time, we're going to talk a little bit of football. Just kind of give you all a heads up. Next week, we're going to have the owners on, and we're going to be talking about the San Antonio Gunslingers from an owner's perspective. Okay, so yeah, we got a lot to go over tonight. Great show scheduled for next week. We'll be back here at the rodeo again next week, and looking forward to it.
All right, so are we ready to bring Jonathan on here after a quick break?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's
all
get
right.
him on.
Well, we'll be right back with a continuation of the second quarter. When we return, you are watching Branded, and we'll be right back.
All right, team, huddle up. Just like in surgery, we need precision and teamwork. Trust me, just like on the field, if we stick to the playbook, we'll achieve excellence.
Coach, are you sure about this?
We've trained for this. We're experts. The San Antonio Gunslingers in South Texas Spine and Surgical Hospital and Outpatient Center, where precision meets performance.
And welcome back to Branded, as we are now joined in close proximity with Jonathan Bain. How you doing, Jonathan? How you doing here at the rodeo?
I'm doing awesome. Getting out here, getting a lot of interest in people coming to the games, just spreading some more awesome news about the Gunslingers and trying to get everybody to be a part of it. It's going to be an awesome season.
And it's fun working face-to-face, talking to people as they come up. You're a natural at this. I've been listening to you. You're right.
I love people.
Actually, really, yes. And that comes across.
Absolutely.
That clearly comes across.
Well, and it's just who we are as the Gunslingers, right? God Family Football. We try to be the best humans we can first. The football comes second. So that's what we strive to do, and that's what I hope to be doing. And would love to get to talk to everybody. So if you're out there, Gunslinger Nation, you want to come visit us here at the rodeo, we got an awesome booth set up, as you can see right behind me. We're excited to get to talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I asked Jonathan to come on tonight was Jonathan has pretty much been spearheading the season ticket sales and ticket sales for us until the season starts. And in another couple of weeks, he's going to be busy with football. So I wanted him to come on and talk about some of the great deals that we have going on right now this year, 2025. If you want to come out and watch us, what do they got to do, Jonathan?
Well, first, you would just call the number on our website. Ralph, do you have that for us by chance?
I had a graphic for that, but that
no worries. So
no, I get that. I'll get that.
We'll get that put up on the screen here. But the really cool thing about what we're offering this year, if you can't make all 8 games, which one cool deal is we have 8 home games, right? So we got action all spring and summer. But if you can't make all 8, we're offering anywhere from 4 to 8 and still be considered a season ticket holder, which is really cool because when you're a season ticket holder, you avoid all processing fees through Ticketmaster. You have multiple different discounts we apply to your season tickets. There's, season ticket holder.
Yeah, special events,
right. Meet and greet with the players. Right. There's many, many different things, and you can see that on SanAntonioGunslingers.com. We have, you get rewarded Guns Bucks as well. Guns Bucks are what we're adding this year to season ticket holders, to where based on the amount of money you spend on season tickets, we give you back money to spend on our awesome merchandise. As you can see, I have a great hoodie here, comfortable hats.
Yes, for hoodies.
Yes, absolutely. They're
so
here.
We'll make new ones.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, yeah. So there's a lot of many benefits. I mean, you can like I said, see on our website. But I'm here to tell you anywhere from 4 to 8 games. So if you can only come to 5, right, you get to hand select the 5 games you want to come to and still get treated like a season ticket holder for the full 8 games.
And,
so
if I could real quick, last year, the season ticket event we had prior to the season at Gunslinger Nation was absolutely incredible. I mean, the food, the drinks, the people, the players were there taking pictures, talking about a party atmosphere, and getting to see the inner sanctum, if you will, of where the players are and being a part of that. You know, that's no different than going to, you know, a NFL arena, but being allowed to see everything and be a part of it. So, yeah, it has its perks, right?
It does.
That's what we're saying at the end of the day. So,
and I'll go out on a limb and say you purchase season tickets or even a ticket in general and you don't enjoy the show or you didn't have a good time, we'll reimburse you your money. You know, we're that confident in what's going on. It's an awesome show, awesome product. It's something you really got to see. And I'm not here just trying to sell it to you. It just really is, especially you football fans. We're coming up on Valentine's Day, ladies. What better gift than to get your husbands, your boyfriends, your sons, your cousins, your brothers, your nephews, whatever it may be, than to get them some season tickets.
But that's the thing too, Jonathan. It's for the ladies. So ladies or guys, buy your ladies these tickets because I'll tell you what. I said this early on, and I'll say it again. Anytime you have an opportunity as a head of household, regardless who it is, and you have an opportunity to spend 8 events a year with your family, and that's date night to bringing the kids out to, bringing your mom and dad, your grandparents, whatever. When you have an opportunity to do that 8 times in a year over the summer and sit in 70-degree air-conditioned building versus being outside in 120 here in San Antonio, it's a great time, and the atmosphere is great, and the ladies seem to love it as much as the guys. So, guys, don't be shy. You know, pick those 8 date nights if you can. You know, it's that special, and you don't have to know the rules of it to enjoy it.
Right.
It's a show. It's definitely a show. So, Jonathan, thank you for that. Let's talk a little football.
Absolutely. The good stuff.
The good stuff. So this is Jonathan's first year coming on board with us, and he is going to be our quarterback coach, special teams coordinator, and he's going to also I had a meeting with them this week, and I said, get ready because you're going to be doing some crossover stuff too. Everybody, all hands on deck this year to make this better.
That's right.
And I think that's a big part of it. Later in the show, we're going to go over my preparation. What's your preparation like? Getting ready for the season?
Right now, it's communicating with the quarterbacks, trying to get them on the same page with me and Coach Fuller. That way we can hit the ground running in camp. I keep telling them and repeating over and over, we don't want to be the reason that slows us down, right? We want to go as the quarterback goes. Or get you cut. That works too. But, just getting down the basics, right? Formations, motions, snap count, cadence, those things that you don't want to be wasting reps on when you come to camp. That way it ain't something new. We're already repping it now and getting in the swing of things. That way we can hit the ground running when camp starts. And
Jonathan, real quick question. Mm-hmm. So you talked about cadence. It changes this year based on no crossover, no extra yard and a half, being over the ball, being over the line of scrimmage at the snap for the high motion guys.
Yes, sir.
How has that changed the cadence?
I think it'll be even better for us, right? So I always say the hidden tool we have as quarterbacks is the cadence and an offense in general. Because if you think about it, it's a 5-yard penalty with an offsides. Well, that's 1/10 of the field. We only play on a 50-yard field. So you do that a couple times a drive, or you can catch them off guard. And, based on the old rules, the guys would get so used to seeing the motion run past the
that's
line
how
of
they'd
scrimmage,
come off the ball.
And they would trigger, So now with that not being an option, we got to kind of snap it as we're getting to the line.
Right.
I think that, those aggressive defenses, those defensive linemen that are trying to anticipate.
The old AFL linemen, especially. They used to
time, the older guys,
or the guys that played in Canada that had that.
Seen it my whole career. But I do think, and I think the snap count is a vital part to an offense. I mean, because you can see it can really bail you out of some things. And, whether it's you're backed up in your own end zone, you hit them with a hard count, it gives you a little more room to breathe. Or if it's a 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, you hit them with a hard count, give you a new set of downs. I think it's going to be huge. And I keep preaching that to our guys is, we got to be vocal. We got to be, communication is key, right? And that's what a snap count is and cadence is. And it's going to be loud in the Freeman Center. And I'm sure it's going to be loud at the away games that we have. So it's just huge, and that's things we're going to rep daily. I told them even right now, if it's calling the play to your wife, your girlfriend, your fiance, whoever it is you're living with, and then, driving her crazy for an hour, 30 minutes to an hour a day, just working on that cadence, working on being obnoxious, because that's what gets the guys to jump off sides, is being obnoxious up there, loud, having a rhythm.
Look at Aaron
about you.
Rodgers.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers made a career
The great
on his
ones,
snap
yep.
count.
The great ones do.
Yeah.
And that's something that'll be huge, though. So that just goes back into my preparation leading up to camp. And, and just right now, just coming up, getting with Coach Fuller and yourself, and coming up with different things of what y'all want to see and what things we need to improve on, or you want to film. I'm a big film junkie. I love the film room. And that's another thing we're going to be doing. And, with the quarterbacks this year is just tremendous amount of film. We want to know what we're getting into whenever we walk up to the line of scrimmage. We want to be able to diagnose and process information at a very high level. And that only comes from seeing it and repping it daily. So we will make sure we get our film time in. And the quarterbacks for our team do know that already after speaking with us, that it's going to be a big key point to us, and I believe to our success this season, at the quarterback position.
Well, that's part of why we built GSN. So
Right.
when you're there, you can do your film study, you can do your weights, you can do, get your treatment, do everything in one location. And coming down the road, I know Robert is putting together a video that him and I did back in November, and we're going to launch it here pretty soon. And it's called like Cribs, right?
Oh yeah, like MTV. The old
like MTV Cribs.
Okay.
And I welcome everyone into our house and walk you through it. You get to see everything that we put into this, but every guest we bring, we had guests here yesterday, and every guest we bring in, their jaw just hits the floor. I mean, they cannot believe that at this level that we have what we have. And you told me in your 10 years.
10 years playing, I've never seen anything like it. And I'm here. I'm not here to sell it to you, but it's something phenomenal.
No,
and to the
sell
players,
Sell it.
No, it really is. The players and they know it. The guys that have been here and the guys that were we signed. I'm sure they have an idea, but you really don't know till you're here. Gunslinger Nation is something truly, truly special. It is. It's all you could ever ask for anybody, right? So if you're a guy looking for a slingshot and a foundation to launch you into the next level you're trying to get to, or if it's a guy like myself that found myself playing for 10 years, you can't find anything better in all of indoor arena. I'll just step out there and say it, as far as facilities, having everything in-house, a weight room in-house, treatment in-house, 5 different trainers, the medical and the housing we have, from the food we have, 3 meals a day. I mean, it just doesn't get any better. And I told Coach, I made a joke. I said, I honestly would have paid y'all to play back in the day whenever I was, getting into arena football, just to have all of that.
And I
because
told you,
it really is.
We've let some guys go and beginning of last year in camp, and I still get regular texts from them begging me to come back. And we've actually had some guys say that they would stay and you don't have to pay me, just give me a room and I'm good. And I'm like, son, don't devalue yourself like that.
Right.
Just because we don't need it doesn't mean somebody else don't need it, because our roster is talented, right?
It is.
So we're going to be letting go 15 guys in about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and I would bet that at least 10 of those guys are starters on other teams.
For sure.
Okay, so it's all about opportunity, and we just want. Look, my whole goal has been give you an NFL professional football experience when you come here. We don't have the budget, but we sure do try to emulate all the little things that go with it. Okay, so that's how we are, and we're going to continue to be that way. And you're a big part of that now.
Absolutely. And I'm excited for it. Like I said, there is no excuses for any player that comes through here for, that they're not lacking anything. They're actually over delivering here in San Antonio, and I'm excited to be a part of it, and looking forward to getting camp kicked off here in a couple weeks.
Well, great. I know you got to pick up a special lady. So we're going to let you out of here. We're going to go to a break and start the second quarter, but I wanted to thank you again for coming on and doing everything you've done this off season, and can't wait to get on the field with you as promised, a couple years ago?
Yes, sir.
There you
That's
go.
right. Well, I appreciate y'all and everybody else out there listening. Come see us at the rodeo. If you can't, give us a call. Check out our website, sanantoniogunslingers.com. We got all of our information on there. And if you come out here, though, we are offering a chance to win. Sorry, if you come to the rodeo, you scan this QR code behind me, and you can have a chance to win a VR headset, the Quest 3S, the new one coming out. It's $1,000 value, along with a bunch of other merchandise, jerseys, cups, things of that nature. So come on out and see us. If you ain't got your season tickets, get signed up, give me a call, If you got any questions, holler at me.
210-298-7733, the number on the screen, and that'll connect you to Jonathan Bain.
Absolutely.
And that's Jonathan Bain.
Appreciate you.
Thanks,
Guns
guys.
up.
Guns up.
And we'll be right back with the second quarter when we return. You are watching Branded.
Good job.
Live from the Freeman Coliseum, brought to you by South Texas Spine and Surgical Hospital.
Reputation. It defines us. How we treat the customer contributes to our reputation. It's doing the right thing every time and never cutting corners. John Wayne's customers have rewarded us with over 15,000 five-star reviews and an A+ rating with the BBB. And for that, we thank you. John Wayne Service Company, our reputation is in every truck.
John Wayne Service Company is a proud sponsor of the San Antonio Gunslingers.
For generations, the family recipes at Carrabba's Italian Grill have been bringing people together. From the sweet smell of our scratch-made sauce to our rich layers of lasagna, we believe food made with love leads to tables filled with laughter. Dine with us or order out at carrabbas.com.
Hey, did I get your attention? Time to buy those season tickets. 8 home games this year. Call the number below. I'll see you there.
And welcome back to Branded for the second quarter. Coach, while we were on break, you had a thought come to mind?
Oh, no. One of the things I wanted to talk about was we got our analytic numbers the other day.
Right.
And just to kind of let everyone know, we've already this year, without the season even starting in the off season, have outdone our numbers from last year at the end of the season. We're well over 200,000 viewers on the show, which is great. And we want to continue to get better. We got a lot of ways we can get better. We're going to keep striving to get better. But those 200,000 views says something about the Gunslingers and that you guys are interested in us. You like to hear me babble on certain things. And I try to be as transparent with everybody as I can. But I want to first say thank you to everyone who's watched the show or is watching the show. And if someone hasn't yet, send them a link. And I think they'll like it because it's, we try to do a little bit more than just football.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, and you're out having fun when you're doing these calls. It's a lot of fun seeing you on other programs because I just get to listen to you. Are you hearing, because I don't see your social media, what kind of feedback are you getting on your appearances on other shows besides Branded?
Yeah, we'll just use Monday for an example. I guess I was on Smoking Guns podcast with our friends Phil, Leo, and RC. They are starting their 5th season in their podcast, and it went great. But I got, the show was done, and then all of a sudden my phone starts blowing up some more and more questions and more, all positive. I thank the good Lord, I haven't got anything too negative on things, but mostly it's just, can you elaborate on this? Can you tell us more about something?
What did you mean by?
Right. And sometimes I can't really tell you because, to be quite honest with you, it's one of those things where you try to be as transparent as you can, especially in the off season. I don't think it really matters how transparent you are. But you also try to respect the privacy of the team. If we ever did one of these and, one night and we said it's going to be, Branded Uncensored, And you could sit there and talk about a player, talk about a coach, talk about this, talk about, where it got personal. I don't think I'd ever want to do one of those, because I think part of the reason people either want to have me on their podcast is they want to get as close to that as they can, but respectfully. And because they know, I guess, what I am. And, above all, I'm a Christian, and I try to be as kind to everyone as I can. But
I thought you were going to say honest or brutally honest.
Well,
when you say it's like how you are.
Here's how I approach that when you have these shows. One is that my honesty might be someone else's falsehood, and so everybody perceives someone's comment different ways, and I kid around like with Gibby, that I think that's going to be a great rivalry with us in Jacksonville. And it's a great rivalry between me and Coach Gibson. He may not feel that way. He might just think I'm some big old turd down in Texas and I don't merit that. Right. And that's okay. He didn't have to feel the same way I feel about him. The way I feel about him is he's a highly respected coach. And every time I beat him, which is a lot, I feel great. So I want, and my thing, look, all kidding aside, that's the banter part of it. Okay. That's the part that gets clicks and views and all that. But at the end of the day, I love going down to Shark Tank, and I like playing football down there because it's a great crowd and
great atmosphere.
Less one guy. Definitely. And then everything else is good,
and we already have him identified and
he'll be
inside the Sharks.
He'll be taken care of. We'll just say that. No, I'm just
as it's been said.
Yeah, as it's been said.
But
hey
not
guys,
by you.
don't hurt him. Okay.
Yeah,
You can't help it if he's a dick. All right. So
they know who he is.
Yeah, they know who he is, which tells you how big a dick he is. Right.
Yeah, he is a known Florida man.
Yeah. Anyway, it's been fun, and so when I get people messaging me post show, it tells me that they either like it enough to want a little bit more, and or they want a clarification on something, and I'm happy to do that. But I'll give you a great example how well we all work together, right? So I was trying to find the player's phone number, could not find it anywhere. Not one of our guys, a player who's been around the indoor game. And I was trying to find his phone number just to have a conversation with him. And he's not a big social media guy. So couldn't find him on social media. Tried the Instagram, tried X, tried, all this different ways to get a hold of him, Facebook, all that. And then we finally found him, but he hadn't checked his account like in months. He's not a big social media guy.
It was a dead end.
So who do I call? I called my buddy who has a podcast, and I said, hey, you're connected. Can you see if you can find his name? Sure, coach, no problem. Let me see what I can come up with. So, and that's a different league. Okay. So all those things, it just shows you how small, really at the end of the day, how small our fraternity is in the indoor game, whether it's AFL or not, or any of those other things, AFL, NAL, IFL, we're still a small fraternity. And that's why I always said, I don't care how many leagues they put out there. I don't care how many things that they do. We're still going to be a small fraternity. I'll give you a great story. I had a owner one time way back, and he came in and he said, yeah, I don't think we're going to have football here next year. And so you better, do everything you can this year to try to win the ring and do everything you got to do. Great motivation speech, right?
Or so he thought.
Yeah. And I looked at him and I said, I won't be out of football next year. You'll be out of football next year. These kids won't be out of football next year. You'll be out of football next year. And by just saying that, I think it hit home that if you want a life in indoor game, if you want a life in the outdoor game, depending on what level, from high school, college, different leagues, semi-pro ball, if you truly love the game, you never have to get out of the game. You can always be in it. And I think that's the best thing about football, is that there's so many different levels that you can always have a good life in football. And Susan and I have been blessed with that, and we're thankful every day for it. So
Supermom checking in. She has a vested interest. You've said it before.
Quit saying that.
She has a vested
I don't
interest.
need any more pressure.
No.
Don't add Tina to the mix.
Oh, you've said before that coaching in this league is a special fraternity, whether that league consists of 8 teams, whether it consists of 6 teams, whether it consists of 16 teams or 14 teams, that you feel blessed to be part of that because, let's face it, there are only so many head coach positions.
Oh, but here's the thing, right? So when I say that, I mean, yeah, I'm okay. So right now there's 14 teams in our league, right? So I'm one of 14 people out of 330 million in the United States that's a head coach in the indoor football league. Kind of cool when you say it like this. Or I'm one of 14 guys out of 8 billion, 10 billion, whatever it is now,
walking around on the planet.
Yep. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
But I'd probably be pretty happy being a high school offensive line coach too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If look, it's cool to think about how great this opportunity is. And trust me, we give thanks to good Lord every single morning when we wake up in my family that we have this opportunity. But in the same breath, I don't want to minimize if you're not a head coach, you can't be happy and loving what you're doing and all that good stuff, because you can. And I've got friends that have turned down head coaching jobs, coordinator jobs, everything. I called a guy years ago and I said, hey, I want you to come in and be my OC. And he said, I'm good being an offensive line coach. I goes, but I said, you can make more money. You can, in that situation, you can do this, you can do that. He says, no, I'm good. I love it. I love working with the big guys exclusively. So that's a guy who's got to figure it out, right?
Yeah. He's happy.
Now, in opposite of that, I had a conversation. Okay, so an agent sent me some film on an offensive lineman this week. So kind of put it off to the side for the morning, and then in the afternoon, my schedule cleared up a little bit, so I started watching this film. Kid's very talented. He had been in a couple NFL practice squads, great guy. Kind of looked into him a little bit, checked his college thing. Nothing came out, where he had an armed robbery or this or that. So while I'm vetting him lightly, the agent calls back and he says, hey, are you interested? I said, yeah, I got to look at a little bit more, but yeah, I said, I am. I said, have you spoken to the kid? And he said, yeah, he's very interested in coming to San Antonio. And I said, well, that's good. Let me finish what I'm doing. He goes, but I should warn you, he's a money guy. And
does he know what league he's playing?
Well, but that's not even the point. I said, okay, tell him no, I'm not interested. Thanks. Have a good day. Hadn't even spoken to the kid yet. And the first thing out of his mouth was money. And guys, you have to make the assumption, first thing, when you talk to a coach, it's about making the team, winning a championship, contributing to the organization, and then talk about your financial needs or what your financial needs are. Because 90% of the time, I got to say no anyway, right? When it comes to money. But the fact that he called and did that when 2 days earlier, I talked to a kid who says, hey, you don't even have to pay me. I just want to, that's why Jonathan and I brought it up.
Right.
Hey, you don't even have to pay me. I'll come in, and if I'm good, you can put me on, rookie pay and whatever, and da-da-da. And I said, we have a standardized pay schedule, but I appreciate it. But frankly, you're just not good enough to play at this level right now. Well, then he sent me about 5 different emails asking me to tell him what he needed to do to improve. And I thought, the knee-jerk reaction is if he'd have done that during the season, they'd have probably went into my trash, but because I just don't have the time.
Right.
But now I do, or I did on that particular day. So I answered some questions to him, and, God willing, maybe next year I'll take a look at him and he'll be the guy. Who knows? But I love that about him. Right. So just be careful, guys, when you're doing that. And that's really it. So
call that a good first half?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, we'll call that a good first half, and we'll be back with the second half when we return. You are watching Branded. Branded is sponsored by South Texas Spine and Surgical Hospital, a tradition of excellence and a legacy of caring. We'll be right back.
We all need hot water. Some of us need more than others. So it's a good thing that State has a wide range of tough commercial-grade water heaters for your home. From standard models to high-efficiency and tankless models, we've got you covered, no matter where you live, what you do, or who started it. To install a State water heater in your home,
Call John Wayne today or visit us at johnwayne.com.
Welcome to the Vegas.
Must be that time of the year again where we work hard and we play hard and eat good pizza.
Hey Gunslingers, come try Matanga's, voted best pizza in San Antonio. We are family and deeply invested in our community. After this game, come find a Matanga's near you. Guns up, slices up.
Welcome to South Texas Spine and Surgical Hospital, an outpatient center. Step into our operating rooms, where highly skilled surgeons work hand in hand with specialized technicians. Our dedicated team has extensive experience and expertise in spine and surgical procedures. Our commitment to patient safety is unwavering. We understand that your well-being is at the heart of everything we do. South Texas Spine and Surgical Hospital, an outpatient center where expertise, longevity, and state-of-the-art technology come together for your health.
And welcome back to Branded as we kick off the third quarter. I've got to say, when you decided to come here to San Antonio, I was excited about doing this because I enjoyed watching other podcasts that you've been on because I would get to learn things that I would never otherwise get to learn about professional football, because you would always share stuff that I don't know if it was oversharing or you were just because you were daring people to beat you at that point. That's like, okay, we're going to put this out there and just go ahead and
we're
try
going
and
to get to
stop
that
us.
point again.
Right. But the fun part was, and I want to make this, and I think you've agreed to that, we're going to make this maybe a recurring segment. And I need you folks to come up with questions for this and start tonight. Aspects about the game, but things that Coach will talk about, and we'll do an example of it. And pile in the comment section with what you want to hear, talking about how a coach and a team, a professional football team, approaches and manages certain aspects of the game. And I think it's appropriate to start with, there's a lot we could before. Let's start with a kickoff. Okay. How do you determine what you are going, besides the score? I mean, that might be part of it. I don't know. You're going to tell me what goes into who you send out there. What are you, when you decide, I mean, we're almost always going for deuce, but maybe not always. The personnel, is there a blocking scheme on kickoff? Is it just go down there, maintain your lane, make a play?
Okay, so it all starts with your kicker. Who did you recruit? Who did you bring in to kick for you? Does he have the ability to be a great deuce guy? Does he have the ability to spot kick in corners? Jonathan's just leaving. See you, Jonathan. Or does he have the ability to squib well? All those factors. And also, of course, can he kick extra points? And, all that goes into it. But relative to the kickoff, I always try to find a quarterback, especially with the way our rules are right now, where the ball comes out to the 20 all the time. I can say with almost all confidence, as of this point, my plan is to always go for the deuce. Now, does that mean he's always going to kick the deuce? We score a lot of touchdowns. That leg gets tired. So maybe it ends up where he kicks the ball into the end zone and they're going to return it. Or maybe he kicks it out of bounds, or whatever the case is. But primarily, our first choice is the deuce. Why? Gives us 2 points. Our second way to make points is to tackle the returner in the end zone. Okay? So if we can tackle the returner in the end zone, that's another way of getting points. If we can tackle the returner inside the 5 or the 10, that pretty much guarantees great field position for our defense. So then the other side of it is, what guys do you put on the cover team? Well, I'll tell you what I told my defensive backs last night in our Zoom meeting. You're all going to be on it. If you play defense, you're going to be on kickoff, period. There's no prima donnas. There's no I ain't going to run down. If you don't run down the field and you're not on their side of the ball attacking and hitting people, whether the ball goes through the uprights or not, you're not going to be here this year, period.
That's going to be fun to watch.
Well,
we're going to see a bunch of hungry guys.
Well, we better, right? So, yeah, so you can just run a straight kick cover where everyone runs down. If you take 8 guys, subtract your kicker, so you got 7 guys tearing hell downfield. Then the other thing is you can have strategies. You can do crosses. So when you're on a kickoff return team, typically they count either from left to right or right to left and exclude the kicker and say, okay, I got 1, 2, 3, I got 3, you got 4, you got 6. Well, the other thing is what we can do is we can cross running down the field. So as long as both guys are aggressively running down the field to cover the kick, they can go ahead and do a twist while they're running down, confuse the blocking, and hopefully get down fast enough where they can make a play in the end zone, or let's say on the -5 or 10, which really benefits you. And the way I explain it to the defense is this: it's really your first defensive play of the series. You determine on kickoff where you want them to start, not the other way around. Now, sometimes, and I would probably say 60, 70% of the time with our kicker, we're either going to get the deuce or we're going to start from the 20, right? So you know that we have to be stingy on first downs and everything else when they get the ball in the 20. If the ball doesn't get deuced and it's returned, then we've got to take the attitude that we're going to control the line of scrimmage from the kickoff. We're going to tell you where to put the ball, okay? So the thing I love about this team in 2025 is these kids are excited about running down the field, hitting someone in the mouth, whether it's a deuce or not, and just going down there and start the tempo. And I told them this: I don't care how fast you run down on the first one. I care that the first one looks like the 9th one or the 7th one or the 6th one, and that same aggression going down the field. Tired? Don't give a crap. We're all tired. You can find a gear and make it work and get down the field. And hell, we're only running 40, 50 yards. It's not like, the old days where you had to run 75 yards on a kickoff. So this is a great opportunity for kids that are on the bubble to make special teams. But the more valuable you are, the more you can do, the more reason you give us to keep you here.
And you've said that before, that really it's about it with a small roster. You've got 25 people, 21 suited up for game day. If you can do more than one thing, that really increases your chances.
It's incredible, right? It makes all the difference in the world. And then once the kicker we get confident in your effort down the field and kicking down the field, you're expecting him to go for a deuce, and now we can squib it in the corner and put you in harm's way using clock management rather than field position, right? There's a number of things you can do with great effort. But if you don't play special teams, and primarily kickoff and kick return, if you don't play those two with effort and passion that's equal, then you shouldn't be playing professional football. We all started in professional football making teams because of special teams. And so we have to be that way.
Speaking of special teams, our fans have come through not one, but 2 really good questions that I'm not sure what the answer is at all.
Maybe I don't know either.
Well, no, you do. And we're going to tee these up. First of all, Joseph Rodriguez says, is there a risk in concussion like the NFL with kickoffs? He says, I assume not. Does anyone have statistics? Coach, this is an issue near and dear to your heart.
I can tell you with great confidence that we don't have the statistics on concussions rather in indoor football.
But player safety is something
player
that you
safety
care
is
about.
primary for me. But again, you're less apt to get hurt going full speed than trying to do avoidance and do the other things. And the other thing is, if you tackle properly, and if you gang tackle, and if it's more than just one guy running down the field trying to do a headshot, the likelihood of you getting that injury is pretty slim. And I will say this, and I don't care who believes it or doesn't believe it. When I was in New York, I think we had for 2 years championships. We had one concussion in 2 years, and that was concussion protocol to be preventative. And then last year we didn't have one. So it's how you tackle and it's how you do that. I think, I don't want to make light of it because I know we hit hard, but, it kind of surprises me sometimes that we don't get more than what we get. But that goes to every year, if a helmet needs reconditioning, or I just ordered new helmets, some more new helmets. Again, this year, I get the best of the best for our players to make sure that there's no chance that they can get injured arbitrarily. And a lot of people say, well, what do you think of the dome caps that the players are wearing now and the preventative padded helmets that go on top of those helmets? Just so y'all know, as soon as you put that on your helmet, you void the warranty and the liability of the helmet manufacturer.
Right, because you've modified the helmet is how that'd
so
be viewed in a court.
You're not doing anybody any favors. And I don't know what a 1-inch pad's going to do for you versus how well constructed the helmets we get ours. And I deal directly with the Rodeo people, and the helmets that we do are not the cheapest. They're the most expensive helmets you can buy that we put our guys in. So yeah, it is safety first when it comes to concussions.
And I've got another question that actually precedes the kickoff. This is Jay Washington, a longtime fan of the San Antonio Gunslingers. Question I've always wanted to know is there any particular game plan on rather to defer or receive the ball first, or is always we'll defer or we'll always kick?
Okay, so this is what all offensive coordinators, for whatever reason, want to defer.
Because they want to do the halftime swing thing.
Right.
They want to be Belichick.
Right. So, Belichick didn't always take the defer. That's a big misnomer. He didn't always defer.
Tell us the truth.
So here's the deal. Okay. So the idea is that we'll get the ball. We should have last possession at the half, try to score before the half, come out in the second half and score again, and you get a 14-point swing off that, right? Yeah, I call BS. Okay, and this game is so fast, you can't do that in indoor. I don't care what anybody says. All you need is a stop and you screw up the whole thing, right? So where I'm at is I want the ball usually, but I concede to Coach Fuller because I want to make sure that he's comfortable with whatever he needs to do. He doesn't need me clogging up his game plan, right? And frankly, to me, either way, I love getting the defense up there and getting them revved up to start. But in my perfect world, I'm taking the ball. I'm going down. We're scoring. We get one stop. We'll get the ball back anyway at the half, before the half. We'll score again. So that's 14 points right there. And then we'll get the ball. We'll let them come out. We'll take it away from them. We'll disrupt them, either stop them or get a turnover somewhere in that third part of the third quarter, score again, and then it'll work itself out where we probably end up with the ball in our possession in the fourth quarter to end the game. Now you do that, and you're looking at 28 points potential, but the defense has to help in that mindset. And last year, frankly, we weren't comfortable enough with our defense to do that. I think this year we're going to be more comfortable as we move forward. But I'll tell the fans this too, and it was funny because Kevin Guy, the head coach of the Arizona Rattlers, and I were having a conversation, and we both agreed on this. And we want you out for the home opener. We want you out to see the games. We want you to the best football you're going to see is after about 3-4 weeks.
Right, when everything's peaked and been grooved.
That's when you're going to see the best of. Then you know really what a team's about, right? Unfortunately, it took us to about 6 or 7 games to get into that position, right?
Right, because
we did a turnover.
Right, we had to.
Right.
Had to.
So I guess the bottom line is that, after about the third week, you really start seeing how teams they've played together, they're comfortable together, repetitions together, because we're going to talk about, I think we're going to talk about camp here in a little bit.
Right.
I don't want to get ahead of myself, but there's some variables on why that happens, why it takes 3-4 weeks for you guys to start playing really good football together.
And I think that comes down to not to steal the thunder. Camp is one bloody week to prepare.
I was going to talk about that.
Right,
Yeah.
but we'll get to that. I'd be ready to head to the fourth quarter to talk about that.
Yep, sounds good.
We are moving along, and thank you, fans. And we're soliciting more answers as we go into the third quarter. More questions always desired, because sometimes there's more questions than answers, but not here on Branded. Coach has handled all of them. You are watching Branded, brought to you by South Texas Spine and Surgical Hospital. We'll be right back with the fourth.
Quality. Here at John Wayne, it's not just a word, it's our foundation. From the people we employ, to the service that's provided, to the equipment that we design and install, quality matters. For nearly 20 years, providing quality Texas comfort to the San Antonio area communities has been our highest priority. For quality you can count on, call John Wayne today.
John Wayne Service Company is a proud sponsor of the San Antonio Gunslingers.
Hey, what can I say? Comes with the job. 1 minute I'm making a one-hand catch on the sideline. Next minute it's lights out and I'm on the sideline. And that's why I like Complete Care, because they're fast, just like me. They have ultrasound, CAT scan, X-ray, and even on-site lab. So if you get sidelined, know where to go. Complete Care, official sponsor of the San Antonio Gunslingers.
And welcome back to the fourth quarter of Branded here live from the Freeman Coliseum and the San Antonio Rodeo. Coach, you got in town last week on Thursday. That's why the show was on Thursday. But the clock is kind of running. We did a quick count. It is 22 days, folks, before the players step off the planes and head over to the hotel room. You need to get your tickets, and you need to get your tickets now if you have not done so. Phone number's on the screen. Jonathan Bain will take your call, 210-298-7733. So I wanted to ask Coach, clock's running. We got 24 days until they step on the field, and we have our first practice at camp, the screening camp. How are you managing your time in the office? What is that like for you day to day? I mean, this is pressure time.
Yeah, not really, because like I said, you do the heavy lifting, before Christmas, and that way you can fine tune things as you get closer to the start of the season. It's time sensitive and it's time consuming, but it's not stressful because playbook's done, housing's done, food's done, the practice field's done, the inventory, the equipment's done, the training room's done. Everything's finished.
Oh, I wanted to ask about the playbook. If you can answer this, as a percent estimate-ish, how much is reviewed, revised, changed from last year?
Not much. Personnel changed more than the playbook changed. But there are a lot of variances now with the new rules too, that have to be adjusted to. But
so more than or less than a year's
no.
normal years.
And here's the thing, and I told this to the guys on the Zoom call so far. I said the playbook you get is just to get you through camp. Really, it's our language, it's our what we do, it's our passing tree, it's our it's our defensive alignment, it's the basic stuff. Because once the cuts are made and we're getting ready for Tulsa, they get a whole nother playbook, which is basically the game plan for Tulsa. Okay. And at that point, they understand our cadence, they understand our huddle, they understand our style, they understand our language. And that's a big part of it, is learning our language. Our language is different than the language in Arizona. It's different than the language in Tulsa, how we describe things, how we talk about things. So they're learning our language in the first week. By the second week, everything is pretty much in line with our opponent. And then when that game's over, we'll be playing Tulsa again. We keep that playbook, but we also start preparing for Bay Area. And then they'll get another book, which will talk about Bay Area. And then after that game, they'll get the next one, and the next one, and so on and so forth. So that's essentially the playbook side of it. From the office side of it, it's continuing to watch film of our opponents, watching coaches' styles that left one team to go to another team, and you assume they're taking their style with them. It's doing some watching of some referees that are still around and how they officiate games. It's about tying up when I guess my favorite line is, and I say that to everyone I have a meeting with in my office. Okay, what did we forget? What didn't we do? Now's the time to do all those things, when you have time to fix all those things. And I like it. I like this time of year. I like 2 weeks, 3 weeks out, because it gives me a chance to it was funny. I was proofreading one of the playbooks, and somehow a misspelled word got out, right? And it was my fault. I didn't triple check it, I guess, afterwards. And it's just one word in one sentence. And I was going to take the time to go ahead and do that and change it and call the printer and tell them, wait up and let me send you this new page and all that. And I said, you know what? No, I'm going to use my time way more valuable than that. And I'll explain to the guys that my spell check didn't grab it and I didn't grab it. And so what? Let's move on. And no one's going to care at that point. Me, I'm a perfectionist when it comes to stuff like that. It's driving me nuts. And that's, I think the older I get, the wiser I get, it's not that big a deal. But doing that, breaking down film with our new system, Snip Back, creating some snips of things that I want to show the guys when they get to camp, creating a coaching itinerary, how I want practice to go, the timing of our meetings. Camp is weird because you have your traditional football meetings. Like here, I'll give you a perfect example. Coaches stay at our same place the players stay. And so I don't, but I'm there early. I'm there probably, I think Megan and I probably open the facility around 5:15, something like that. And if I'm there already, great. If not, she's there. And then I'm there shortly thereafter. And the first thing I do is I start on my itinerary for the day. What's the practice schedule going to like, dress of the day and all that. And I print it out, and then Megan goes and she posts it in the locker room, in the training room, in the coach's office. All the coaches get a copy of it on their desk. Everything's done. So my idea is when the coaches come in, I hope they had breakfast and they got comfortable and had a good night's sleep because they worked their ass off. And then when they come in, I try to make it as seamless for them as possible. So I give them about a half hour. And then around 7:30, we have our first coaches meeting of the day. And that usually lasts till about 8:15. And primarily during the season, it's basically to talk about that day's practice, what we need to work on. If I saw any problems that we need to correct, if we have to elongate an indie period, so we work on skills, or if we have to elongate or shorten a team period, that's the time we do all that. In camp, we utilize that to make sure that every person that tries out for the San Antonio Gunslinger and has been offered a contract, that they get reps. So I'm a stickler for that. I don't want some guy leaving us and we cut him because he didn't get to show us what he can do. So that morning meeting does a lot of that. Then I give them about another half hour, 15 minutes to a half hour to get their own personal stuff together for the day. And then about 8:45, the coaches are on the field, players are on the field, quarterbacks are on the field with centers, doing snaps, doing drills, whatever. And they go through that process. Then we get into 9 o'clock, whistle blows, we start practice. From that standpoint, you do your stretching, you do the things you need to do. We take 20 minutes to stretch. In the beginning, during camp, it'll probably take 25 minutes to a half hour because the new guys don't know the routine yet. And then we go to an individual period where it's basically the first part of it is warm up. The second part of that indie period is skills. If you're a lineman, it's shoot, sled, step overs. And then if you're a wide receiver, it's routes, it's getting your quarterback's arm loose, doing all those things, and so on and so forth. Then we'll typically go to Skelly. And Skelly is where the quarterback and the wide receivers and the DBs take half the field, 3/4 of the field, and they work on the routes that we're going to run. Defense works on the coverages we're going to do. And it's kind of like a one-on-one without blockers and all that thing. Quarterbacks always look good in that because no one's rushing them and, that kind of thing. And then while they're doing that, we're doing inside run with the big guys. So we'll have defense, linemen, offensive linemen, running back. We'll have one of the quarterbacks keep going back and forth. This year we had 3, so we'll have plenty. And we'll do inside run stuff, technique again, learning our language, footwork, hand placement, all those things that go into that. We get done with that, and we go into the team. So offense might take 25 plays, defense takes 25 plays. So when it's offense's turn, we're running a defense that they've asked us to run. In the season start, it's our opponent's defense, so we'll run at practice. And then when it's the defense's turn, we'll have the offense running their plays that we're going to be seeing this week, and we'll do 25 of those. After that, special teams, and we'll do kickoff one day, kickoff return one day, extra point one day, field goal one day, onside kick one day, all those different things. And then we do conditioning. And then conditioning is based on what kind of shape they come in the camp. If they come in and they're all hard-bodied and ready to roll, conditioning is going to be a short period. If it's not, it's going to be a little bit longer.
How often has that happened?
With my teams?
Yeah, where they've all come in prepared and there is no
Anybody
doubt
who's
about
ever
the
played
physicality.
for me comes in really prepared. Anybody who's never played for me, they're never where they need to be. I've never had a guy come in and just kind of laugh it off. Yeah. So they kind of know that and here's the other thing. You talked about injuries earlier, right? You're less likely to get injured, Ralph, if you're in great shape. If your flexibility is good, if your strength is good, and all those things go with it, and your cardio is good, you're less apt to get injured. It's funny, the first day of camp, historically, you'll have at least 1 to 2 guys go down with the hip flexor because they just didn't stretch properly or they didn't work on it in the off season. And so then you get a guy who's got a hip flexor and he's going to be half of who he really is until Thursday. And then come Saturday when he gets cut, there's nothing you can do about it. Right. So that I think is and then of course, like after practice, they get their treatments, ice tubs, treatments, showers. We bring in a catered lunch every day. Then after that, we go to meetings. While they're showering and changing, we'll have another quick coaches meeting in there. And that's primarily a personnel meeting during camp. We'll go around the table, tell us about your guys. Who do you like? Who don't you like? Who's this or that? Who got a plus? Who got a minus today? I don't believe in grading people. It's either pass, fail. He had a practice, he passes. Okay, great. He puts 3 or 4 of those together, he's probably got a good shot at making their team. If he comes in and he only does one day a good and the rest are all bad, he's probably not going to make the team. But we talk about it and we talk through it. My son comes in, who's one of our scouts. He's ahead of our scouting, actually. And he comes in and he helps us with personnel, and he'll tell us more about players and what he saw. He's an extra set of eyes during camp. So we do all that. And then when that's done, after the team meeting, we have a team meeting, then we break out in offense, defense. Then the coaches might have separate meetings. So Jonathan will bring the quarterbacks in his room and they'll talk. And Coach Johnson might bring the big guys into a room and talk. He might have a linebacker meeting that day. He might have an offensive line meeting that day and go through everything. Coach Fuller, he's going to, oversee that whole offense. So he could be anywhere and doing anything he wants to do. Defensively, unless, our function is going to be, if we have to sit down with the DBs longer this year, we'll do that. I'll do that. If we have to sit down with the D line, I'll do that. We'll sit down with them. We'll talk to them, Coach Johnson and I. And Coach Fuller is going to be a great help too on the defensive backside. He's going to contribute a lot with his expertise and his techniques and everything else. But make it abundantly clear, and I'll say this straight up, Coach Fuller is going to call the offense. I'm going to call the defense. And Coach Bain is going to work the special teams, and we're all going to help Coach Bain be successful on special teams. So every one of us is going to contribute as coaches. So, yeah, and then after those meetings, we'll have another coaches meeting. I call it the exit meeting every day. I try to get the coaches out there, get out of there in a reasonable time. Okay. But
what do you define as reasonable, Coach?
You got to remember, I've been with coaches, man, when I was coming up, where I had to be at work at 4 a.m. I didn't get home till midnight, right? And I don't want to do that to these guys. And there's no reason to do that to these guys. They're all bright and they're good. And you're not measuring peckers. You're just trying to treat them well as good guys. And all these guys have families. I want them to be able to go home, FaceTime their kids, FaceTime their wives, and have dinner with them once in a while if they come in town and do those kinds of things. So when you do that, I try to have the coaches out of there no later than 4:30, 5 o'clock. Okay.
And that speaks to efficiency. If things run as they're supposed to,
right,
every minute they were there.
And if they don't, they'll stay longer. Right. But I don't have to ask them to. They'll stay longer because they got work to do.
So I have one observation.
Well, wait, one more thing. Good. So when they leave, I don't go anywhere. I stay, and then I clean up any loose ends that we had for the day. I try to get Megan out of there at a decent hour, the equipment guy out of there at a decent hour, and all those things. And then I'll stay and clean it up, and then I'll start the itinerary for the following day. And I'll also do personnel stuff. I'll watch practice films, do my own grading, whether it be an offensive guy, a quarterback, a defensive guy. I'm going to have my hands in it. I'm going to have my hands in the decisions that, whether they're offense, defense, or special teams. I'll garner opinions, but at the end of the day, it's my call because I'm the one that either keeps them or cuts them.
So one observation related to that. Now I understand why at Gunslinger Nation we have so many different meeting rooms with partitions and video plugins and places they can go, whether it's the couch in the lounge for the big guys to sit on because they're big guys and they need a lot of support. The backs in here, meeting over there.
Yeah, but that's when Don asked me when I picked this property, and Don said, "Oh, I own it," and I said, "Oh, great." And we walked through it the first time. He said, "Give me your vision of what you think this should be," and that's like giving a fat kid, the key to the Dairy Queen. I was excited, and I wanted to. I thought, what the hell? I'm going to put everything I've ever wanted into one building.
Take your shot.
And so I did it, and I'll never forget this. I didn't go in there until it was almost done. And because I didn't want to be disappointed, but I would work with whatever he gave me, again, because we're blessed, or I didn't want to have any preconceived notions, kind of thing. So it was almost like he did, well, I can say this, he did exactly what I asked for. To the point where when I did my walkthrough and it was about 90% done, he said, "Do you need anything else?" And for the first time in my life as a coach, I said, "No, you gave me everything I asked for." So hats off to Don Rackler for doing that for us. And yeah, and it's hard to not be successful here when you got all that. Now you brought up a point, Jonathan brought up a point. In his 10 years, he's never seen anything like it, and this and that. So let me make this abundantly clear to anyone who has aspirations of playing for the Gunslingers or is coming this year to the Gunslingers, if you're listening. We give you every tool. You have no excuse. The expectations are high. I need emotion and passion and effort to be as high as everything we're giving you. That's how you pay us back for having an opportunity to be here. So when you create a place like this, it takes a special guy to be here. That's why I always say it's really hard to play for me, because our expectations are very, very high and they're pretty unforgiving, right? That's why I think this year we only have 2 guys coming back on our defense. Okay, so expectations are extremely high, and you have to fulfill the expectations we not only have for you, but you should have for yourself.
So my other observation, it's really a question to make perfectly clear. You spelled out a lot of things in very explicit detail about how practice will go and how camp will go. Should a rookie trying to make this team rewind this and write this down and memorize this schedule, what would be your advice to, in addition to what you said about coming here with passion and coming here with purpose and honoring it, what beyond being in shape and being the best you can be, what other advice would you give to that novice player who took the hint, watched the show tonight, and I know you're out there watching the show tonight, hoping to learn something, glean something from it that will improve slightly your chances of making the team? Coach, what would you tell that young man right now?
Do not take the itinerary other than what it is. The itinerary is a start time and a stop time. If I ask you to, bear crawl for 3 hours, say okay. But the problem with an itinerary is you'll get certain players that will pace themselves through a practice. So you'll get a guy who knows that in the last period is conditioning and we're getting ready to do kickoff cover. So instead of running down like his hair's on fire, he paces it so he has something left for conditioning. You'll have guys that are in skelly that will be in the right spot, do all those things, but not give you that 110% effort because they know we're going to team here shortly. One of the things I used to do when I was a young football player, I was coming out of high school and I went to college. I went to Kansas State, D1 school, playing Nebraska, Oklahoma, all the big boys back in the heyday, in the Big 8. And I remember it was raining out. I mean, it was raining sideways. And we had an indoor facility and all that, right? And I said to my defense coordinator, at the time I was playing it was my offense coordinator or offensive line coach, Jim Davies. And I said to him, I go, should we dress for the indoor facility? And he looked at me and like I had lost my mind. And he said, he called me in his office. I was probably 18, 19 years old. And he said, whether it rains, snows, God's wrath is coming down on this field, you will do 3 things. You will practice where we tell you. 2 is you will give great effort in what we do. And you will run every single day after practice because we condition every practice except walk through the day before a game. And that stuck with me. So I quit worrying about it. And I just figured, so your freshman year, you're kind of, you're struggling and you're doing your thing. But by the time you're a senior, you come in such good shape that don't matter. Throw it at what you got, right? So when I talk about pro players, every pro player has gone through that in college. Every player that we've recruited at some point in their career has gone through that. And they know they have to come in great shape, because what happens is if you don't come in great shape, your fight or flight reflex kicks in. And what you'll see is, the old saying, fatigue makes cowards of us all. You'll see very dominant guys, alpha males, turn into little girls on the field. They're just trying to survive. When I see a guy breathing really, really heavy and he's got his hands on his knees and his head's down, I'll pat him on the ass and I'll say, hey, air is free. You don't have to steal it. Just to kind of remind him, stand up, because your body language right now is showing me way more than you want it to show me. And that goes for all of our coaches. I mean, all of us, Coach Fuller played in the NFL. I played in the NFL. Coach Johnson played in the NFL. Bain is a Hall of Fame indoor guy. So what I'm saying is we've all done it at the highest level you can do it. So don't think we're not going to expect the same out of you. Right? So
to summarize, if I dare, kid, don't bother writing down all those times. Go work out more.
No, look at
do,
it.
Do more cardio.
Yeah. When you come in every morning, it's sitting right in front of, it's in the players' lounge, it's in the locker room, it's in the training room, the itinerary. And all it really is, if you only looked at one thing and you said, what time do we start? Were there any changes? No, it's, SOP, right? Then that's all you really need to know. We're going to tell you where to go on the field. We're going to tell you what time it starts, when it goes, what whistle blows, where you should be. I do that so guys can mentally, the guys that we want can mentally prepare their game plan for the day at the highest level. Not to pick out parts where they can coast, but to pick out parts where they can shine, right? So, there's not much shining going on when you're hitting a sled and going over dummies, but there is a lot to shine in inside run if you're a lineman or in one-on-one pass pro. That's when you should get the most excited, right? And then when we go to team, was I perfect in my execution, right? Then, how many times did I win my battles today? Because here's the other thing, and I told this to, Jonathan and I were in the office yesterday, and he was hanging out in my office. I was telling him, I said, one of the things I like about our DBs is they're all really good this year. And the other thing is I love our wide receiver room because it's ridiculous, right? I mean, it's
yes,
it's the who's who of wide receivers. And I said, do you understand, if you're a DB, what an advantage is every day to be able to go against DJ Myers, Naquan Murray, Collie and Austin, or Upshaw and, Gibbons and all these guys, Bailey Edwards this year for camp. Do you understand what an advantage that is for you? Hell, there's going to be some teams that those guys on a scale of 1 to 10, if Naquan Murray is a 10 and DJ's a 10 and Collie's a 10 and Austin a 10, you're going to be playing guys that are 5s. Right. So you're going to tell me that guy who's a 5 beat your ass on a Saturday? That is unacceptable, because every day at practice, you get to go against a 10 every day. But if you don't put in the effort at practice, then you're just going to be a 5 going against a 5. And that's how I look at it, right? The same thing goes with the line, linebackers, running backs, kickers. It doesn't matter who you are. If you don't take advantage of practice, you're really pissing it away, because, and I tell this all the time, and I've told it to you guys, I've told our listeners before, when Belichick gave his last Super Bowl ring out, it had the number of practices on the side, because that's how, just the days. And he even commented that that's part of it. Guys ask me all the time, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, work your ass off. Saturday should be fun day. Saturday should be a day where you go out there and you get to put all that work out, and all those things, all those chits you put in the bank, you get to make a withdrawal on Saturday, show your family, your friends, your team, your town you're playing for, the logo on your chest. You get to show them what you're doing and have fun doing it. Don't make it where it's a struggle, and that's a big part of it. So,
Well, I think that
I'm looking
pretty
at
much wraps
anything
it
else
up.
come up.
Well, Leo Lamas from Smoking Guns had a good closing comment. Basically, iron sharpens iron, which of course is biblical and of course is accurate. And I don't want to add any more to it, Coach, because I thought you described it very well. And I think the advice to that rookie out there, I know what I got from that is look forward to on that schedule your opportunity to shine. Look forward to that. Don't come out and try to just survive it. Look forward to your opportunity to shine, and mentally, the whole thing sounds like mental preparation. Okay, I know what I'm going to be doing here. So what do I need to do? I need to show my execution. I need to show. How can I show me in this part of practice? How can I show me in this part of practice?
Right.
And look forward to that and prepare for that. Don't worry about how long this section is or that section is. Look forward to
Practice,
time to shine.
and with me, practice is over when we're done with our work, right? So if we get done in an hour and 45 minutes, we're done. I'm not watching the clock no, we're done. If we get done, if it takes 2 hours and 40 minutes, then that's when we're done. It's done when we're done. So be perfect. The other thing we do in camp that we won't do during the season is we won't reload. We won't reload plays. So let's say we're at practice and we call on the script of the 25 plays that we're going to call that day. And let's say the third play, we're on the third play, and the quarterback gets up and he drops the snap. We don't go, okay, let's huddle again and do it again. No, that's like a game. You never get that back. That's a mistake. You got to own it. So that makes for one efficient practice.
Got to be so frustrating.
And accountability. And accountability because no, it's kind of something that James and I both agree on wholeheartedly is because you don't get that opportunity in a game. And practice is supposed to emulate game situations when you're in team. So, it's things like that the younger kids can't get their heads around yet, and we do some safety protocols since we're on it. I don't know if people are interested in this or not, but let's say a running back's running and Harper's running around the corner and someone punches the ball out and the ball's on the ground. We don't dive on the football at practice because that's how you get knee injuries. So that's why we've been very healthy team is we don't jump on fumbles at practice. We go when we surround it somewhat and we know, but in our minds, the offense lost the ball. It's a turnover. So don't drop the ball, right? And the same thing goes with our DBs and our wide receivers. We got these thoroughbred wide receivers and we got DBs hungry to make the team. And if they touch them or if they undercut them or if they, push them into the sideline, violently, it's not going to work. Right. Be in position. I'll know watching film that you were there.
That you were in position.
You were in position to make a play. You don't have to hurt each other at practice, right? Quarterbacks, anyone touch the quarterback and they hit them, they get a very stern warning from me, which has a lot of God having to forgive me for my language. And then if they do it a second time, I cut them.
Right.
Because you're just dumb.
Right.
That's your meal ticket.
See the red shirt? Don't hit the red shirt.
Yeah, you're just dumb.
Yeah.
If you can't control your body. I cut a kid last year, good pass rusher, really good, but he couldn't control his body and always ended up at the knees of our quarterback. And I said, you're not worth me losing Casanova.
Right.
You're not worth it. And he went on someplace else and he had a good career last year. But I don't care.
Right.
I wasn't going to take a chance. And that's sometimes you have to be in control of your body all the time when you're on a practice field. So anyway, that's all.
Okay, Coach said it. That means this is all. We have done our time, just like at a practice, and I'll take him at his word. We'll be back to wrap this up in just a bit. You're watching Branded, brought to you by South Texas Spine and Surgical Hospital.
Hey San Antonio, are you tired of the same old chain pizza that tastes like cardboard? I thought we were done eating paper in school. Maybe not. It's up to you. At Matanga's, we bring you flavors that are authentically Texan. We're talking about fresh dough that we made in store every single day. We're talking about cheese that's shredded in store for that authentic cheese flavor. We're talking about brisket because this is Texas, y'all. We're talking about our Texas roll. Can't get those anywhere else. We're talking about Texas ranch because when you put jalapenos and ranch together and you dip it in with pizza, just drink it. Lastly, we got a pothole pizza because we had to name a pizza after our roads. You know what I'm talking about. Can't wait to see you soon. Find a Matanga's near you.
All right, team, huddle up. Just like in surgery, we need precision and teamwork. Trust me, just like on the field, if we stick to the playbook, we'll achieve excellence.
Coach, are you sure about this?
We've trained for this. We're experts. The San Antonio Gunslingers and South Texas Spine and Surgical Hospital and Outpatient Center, where precision meets performance.
This is head coach and general manager Tom Manassi, your San Antonio Gunslingers. We got 8 home games this year that are going to be pretty special. You want to make sure you're part of this. Come help us win the championship. In addition to that, we have free giveaways through the entire season, special theme nights, and all you have to do is call the number below, and we'll make sure we take real good care of you. God bless.
And this will go ahead and wrap up our show for this. Make sure before you go, you have liked and subscribed. And I want to thank everyone who commented tonight and keep bringing those comments and questions for Coach. Speaking of which, it's time for that very special segment that everyone looks forward to, and they all wish they were related. Go, take it away, Coach.
I don't know about that. First of all, I wanted 2 things. I want to say thank you again. Over 200,000 viewers. We couldn't be more blessed, and thank you. We wouldn't be here without you, and we greatly appreciate it. And secondly, next week, don't miss the show because it's like the Mount Rushmore of ownership in professional sports with Randy Carroll, Don Rackler, and James Stubing going to be on, and we're going to talk everything Gunslinger. So that's going to be a great show. With that, I'd like to say, which camera am I on here? That one? Okay. Miss Susan, I miss you and I love you. Eli, Liliana, and Mila, it's time to go to bed. Papu loves you. Night, everybody. God bless.
This has been branded for February 12th, 2025. And as always, folks, keep your guns up. Good night, everybody.